All right, let's dive into The Art of Scandal by Regina Black.
Sounds juicy.
It does, doesn't it? You guys sent in a ton of stuff, excerpts, the Goodreads page, reviews. Some people loved it, some, well, not so much.
Yeah, a real mix.
So we're going to figure out what's really going on here. Is it actually scandalous? What are people talking about?
I think it's interesting because the plot, cheating husband, affair with a younger guy, woman finding herself again, all that's pretty attention-grabbing.
Definitely.
But it seems like there's more to it than that. Like, people are responding to the art stuff, ambition, what it's like to be a Black woman in today's world, that kind of thing.
Right. And some of the reviews even compare it to, like, Scandal meets The Perfect Find.
Ooh, setting the bar high.
For sure. Those comparisons make it seem like it's not just a typical romance, you know?
Yeah, it's tapping into something deeper. But before we go too far, let's give everyone a quick rundown of what actually happens in the book.
Okay, so who are the main characters? Set the scene for us.
So it's all about Rachel Abbott. At the beginning, she's totally the classic politician's wife.
Okay.
Her husband, Matt, he's a mayor, rising star, wants to be president.
Ambitious.
Totally. And on his 40th birthday, Rachel finds out he's cheating.
Yikes. What does she do? Divorce? Confrontation?
It's not that easy. See, Matt's all about his political career.
Right.
Messy divorce. That'd ruin everything. So they make this weird deal.
A deal?
Yeah. Rachel gets $1 million, and their fancy house in Oasis Springs is like a super ritzy D.C. suburb.
Wow.
But she has to pretend everything's perfect, be the trophy wife, until after the election.
So much tension. And is this when the younger artist comes in?
You got it. Nathan Vasquez, 26, handsome, lost. That's how the book describes him.
Interesting.
Rachel and Nathan, they have this intense connection, start an affair.
So is it just revenge cheating then?
That's what the book digs into. Is it right? Is it wrong? It really makes you think about the choices Rachel makes, and readers are split on it, you know?
Yeah, some reviews are all for it, like, you go, girl. But others are like, wait, is this okay?
Exactly. It's not black and white, even though the husband messed up. It's all morally gray.
I can see how that would get people talking.
And it makes you think about what you do, right? Like, if you were in Rachel's shoes, what would you do? Love, loyalty, all that gets thrown into question when the rules change.
Especially for someone like Rachel, who's always put her own wants aside for her husband's career. There's that line in the book, she says, "My whole life has been selfish cravings, guilty pleasures, being desperate for things I can't admit that I want out loud."
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's powerful, right?
Yeah, that really captures how she's feeling. She's been playing a role for so long, keeping quiet. This whole affair, it's like she's waking up, finding her own voice again.
And not just her voice, she picks up photography again too, right?
Exactly. It's less about getting back at Matt and more about remembering who she is, what she loves, outside of being Mrs. Politician.
Okay, but let's talk about this age gap for a second. 10 years, that's not nothing.
It's definitely there.
Is this like a typical older woman, younger man story?
This is where it gets interesting. Nathan might be younger, but he owns a business, has a supportive family.
So he's not just some kid.
Nope. He's got his own thing going on, which changes the whole power dynamic, you know? It's not the cliche you might expect.
I like that. It makes it more real.
Definitely adds some nuance. And that ties into the bigger themes of power, especially in a high-profile marriage like theirs.
Right. And we haven't even gotten to Matt, the cheating husband. What's his deal?
Well, he wants to be president, remember. That ambition adds a whole other level of intrigue to everything.
It's not just a personal mess anymore. It's political, too.
Exactly. How much will this scandal affect his image? It makes you think about the compromises people make for power, what they sacrifice in their personal lives. It's all connected.
Totally. And speaking of image and perception, we can't forget the art part of The Art of Scandal. How does that all fit in? What about Nathan's art and Rachel rediscovering photography? How do those play into everything?
So the reviews rave about how Black describes art. It's not just there for decoration. It's woven into the characters and the message of the book.
Okay.
For Nathan, his art is like this emotional outlet, a way to connect with who he really is, you know.
And Rachel, how's photography her way of finding her voice?
Well, there are hints that she might use her photos to show what's really happening in Oasis Springs.
Ooh, like behind the perfect facade.
Yeah. Remember we talked about that Desperate Housewives meets House of Cards vibe? It's like she's using her camera to capture the secrets, the underbelly of this seemingly perfect world.
So it's rebellion through art.
Yeah. Challenging the status quo, exposing the cracks in a society that's obsessed with looking good and being in control.
Whoa, that's deep. Okay, before we get too lost in Oasis Springs and its secrets, let's look at some of those juicy reviews you mentioned.
Okay, let's do it. One even compared The Art of Scandal to 7 Days in June, which is known for its really beautiful writing and intense emotions.
Sounds like we're in for a roller coaster.
Definitely. Buckle up.
I'm ready. Let's see what else this book has in store for us.
Going through these reviews, there's something that's kind of striking. It's not exactly like enjoying someone else's misery, but
Schadenfreude.
yeah, maybe a bit. But there's this definite sense of, I don't know, satisfaction. When Rachel starts her affair,
Like readers are cheering her on.
totally, it's like, you go, girl.
Uh-huh.
One review specifically said they wanted a book where the wife gets, even after being cheated on.
Right. It's like The Art of Scandal is tapping into that desire for a woman to take back her power, even if it means doing something kind of questionable.
And that's what makes the whole moral thing so interesting. It makes you think, what do we really believe about cheating and forgiveness? Is Rachel just out for revenge, or is it more about figuring out what she wants, what she needs? The book doesn't give you easy answers.
It makes you think.
Yeah. And that's why people are debating it so much.
Yeah, some reviewers love how it looks at relationships in a complicated way, but others, they're not so comfortable with it. Like, Rachel doesn't really face any consequences.
It's almost like the book is showing us society's double standards, making us look at our own biases.
Oh, I like that.
Right. And it's not just about the affair either. Think about Oasis Springs, this perfect suburb.
The secrets.
Exactly. It's all manicured lawns and perfect lives, but underneath, it's all ambition and power games.
Giving me Big Little Lies vibes.
Totally. And Rachel coming in, shaking things up, I bet that throws everyone off balance.
Right. Like she's cracking the facade.
Exactly. Forcing people to face the truth about themselves, about their community.
And then there's Matt wanting to be president. His ambition adds a whole other layer to it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just a personal drama anymore. It's about politics, public image. What if the scandal gets out?
Things could explode.
Speaking of things exploding, there's something in the reviews I really want to talk about. There's this event that happens that some readers were like, nope, not okay.
Gotta be careful with spoilers.
Of course. But from what I gathered, it seems like Nathan does something that crosses a line.
Maybe something about privacy or consent.
Yeah, that really complicates their relationship.
For sure. Can they come back from that? Especially with the age difference, the power dynamic.
Right. It brings up all these questions, forgiveness, accountability, what's okay, even in a passionate relationship that's already breaking the rules.
So this event kind of becomes a turning point for them, forcing them to make some tough choices.
Okay, so we've talked about the main couple, but what about everyone else? Any other characters that stand out in the reviews?
Nathan's brother, Joe, gets mentioned a lot.
What's his deal?
He's like the good son, the one who follows the rules. Total opposite of Nathan the artist.
Sibling rivalry.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah.
Some reviews hint that Joe might have his own secrets, his own struggles, even though he seems perfect.
Interesting. I love when characters surprise you like that.
And there's even a suggestion that he might end up being a support system for Nathan, which is kind of unexpected.
Ooh, I like that. What about Rachel's daughter, Mia? Does she play a big part?
It seems so. A lot of reviews say she brings a different point of view to everything. Maybe even challenges her mom's choices.
Oh, that's good. Makes Rachel think about her own actions, her hypocrisy.
Right. It adds another layer to Rachel's journey. It's not just about her anymore. It's about being a mother and how her choices affect her daughter.
That's powerful. And probably relatable for a lot of readers.
For sure.
Yeah.
Trying to balance your own growth with taking care of your family, that's a universal struggle.
Okay, so we've talked characters, plot twists, all the drama. What about the ending? Do the reviews give anything away?
It sounds like things wrap up pretty neatly for Rachel and Nathan. You get a sense of closure for their relationship.
The happy ending.
Kind of. But it doesn't feel totally unrealistic. Like there are hints that the scandal will have lasting effects, especially for the other characters. It's not all tied up in a bow.
Or like happy for now.
Exactly. There's hope for Rachel and Nathan, but the book acknowledges that their choices will have ripple effects. It's not over.
It makes sense, right? Life's messy. Things keep going even after the story ends.
And some people actually wished there was an epilogue. They wanted to see what happened years down the line if everyone really found happiness.
But maybe that's part of what makes it good. Leaving some questions unanswered lets the reader imagine what happens next.
Totally. Keeps the conversation going.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of characters, plot, morals, all that. But what about the writing itself? What are people saying about Regina Black's style? One word that keeps coming up is indulgent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like people are saying her writing is beautiful, descriptive, almost like poetry sometimes.
Hmm. Interesting. Do any lines stand out in the reviews?
One reviewer pointed to this description of Rachel's effect on Nathan. It says, Rachel was a feeling. She was the reason he woke up every morning and checked his phone with his heart in his throat. She was a spark that made him want to draw again.
Wow, you can really feel how intense it is for him, right?
Totally. And it's not just about the romance. People are saying she describes art so well, you can practically see the paintings, the photos.
She's painting with words.
Exactly. Like you're right there in the story, experiencing it all.
And speaking of experience, the audiobook, narrated by Mela Lee, is getting rave reviews too.
Oh, nice.
People are saying she really brings the characters to life, adds a whole other dimension to the story.
That's awesome. A good narrator can make all the difference.
Totally.
So we've got great characters, a plot that makes you think, beautiful writing, and a fantastic audiobook. Anything else we should mention about The Art of Scandal before we wrap things up?
Oh, one thing. Even though it's marketed as romance, it doesn't shy away from tougher topics.
Oh, like what?
Grief, racism, teen pregnancy, drug use, all that's woven into this story.
Wow, so it's not just a light read then.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It tackles some real issues, adds more depth.
That's good to know. So based on all this, would you say it's worth reading?
Absolutely. Especially if you want a story that's fun but also makes you think, with characters who mess up but are still trying to find their way.
And if you like shows like Scandal, The Perfect Find, all that drama and intrigue, this seems like a perfect fit.
Totally. And if you're an audiobook person, Mel Lee's narration just adds to the whole experience.
Perfect. So there you have it, a deep dive into The Art of Scandal, a book that's as complex and captivating as the art it talks about.
We've gone through the plot, the tough choices, the characters who are trying to break free, but it all comes back to this question. What would we do if we were in Rachel's shoes? Play it safe or risk everything for a chance at real happiness?
So that's what makes the story stick with you, right? It makes you think about your own life, your own values.
Exactly. So whether it's the romance, the scandal, the art, or the ambition, The Art of Scandal has something for everyone. Maybe it'll even inspire you to tap into your own creativity to find your own path.
Love that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Art of Scandal.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with more sources, ready to uncover more stories and have more thought-provoking conversations.
Can't wait.
Until then, happy reading.